July 10th, the war effort will begin, and each faction can turn in an immense amounts of resources that, once completed, require 5 days to be transported down to Silithus due to the raid requirements in the quest line leading up to the Bang a Gong quest. The earliest that ringing can occur on highly motivated realms could just be over 1 week later. The AQ war effort is massive. In Phase 5, we have 2 new raids that come out, Ahn'Qiraj and AQ Ruins. Before these raids even come out, there is a server-wide event that precedes the opening of the 2 raids, the Ruins of Ahn'Qiraj and Ahn'Qiraj. Massive event has 3 phases: the Scepter of the Shifting Sands questline for the elite guilds, the war effort supplies for the entirety of the server at all levels, and at the end of both of these events, a massive 10-hour war in Silithus. Now, there is a massive amount of information about the war effort and the things that you need, such as linen bandages, silk bandages, wool bandages, mage weave bandages, rune cloth bandages. A lot of the stuff on the auction house will probably be a relatively expensive penny. Now, it's really good for getting up reputation. So specifically, if you were going to be doing these turn-ins and you get the Alliance Commendation Signet or the Horde Commendation Signet, you can turn these into your respective locations in the world. Like, let's say you're going for the Tiger Mount in Darnassus. This could be a little bit cheaper way. It probably won't, but this is going to be something where you can do those reputations at the same time. And as you can see, there's a lot of quantities needed. Of linen bandages, we need over 800,000. Now, don't stress, it is a server-wide event, and we do have thousands upon thousands of players playing, and that's logging, let alone people leveling, correct? And a lot of these items are while leveling, which is a beautiful thing. So we should be able to knock a lot of these out pretty quickly. Now, once both factions have completed their war effort, quests, and gathering all the required supplies, NPCs from both sides will prepare to travel down to Silithus. This lull takes about 5 days. They literally will take 5 days IRL, in which players can observe the supplies gathered in Ironforge and Orgrimmar slowly diminishing as they're transported down to Silithus. Once the 5 days have passed, accomplished players who have the Scepter of the Shifting Sands will be able to complete Bang the SCARAB Gong in Silithus, beginning the event that will lead to the opening of Ahn'Qiraj. It's the 10-hour war effort. The first player, obviously, is guaranteed the mount. Until then, you have 10 hours to hit that mount while the war is going on. Now, on PvP servers, this is going to be hectic. I'm sure I could find some footage of some crazy griefage.
Comes to an end in all this lag. I wasn't lying when I said I didn't just spend the last 18 or so months with the mount hidden in my bank.
And it's so lame to blame someone else, like when you fuck up, right? But like,
locally, there's going to be a lot of bodies there, so just expect some lag, as always. Now, this quest line is extremely massive and requires time commitment, probably from more than you. It is 32 quests to complete. It's one of the longest quest lines in Classic, unironically, and it needs to be done in a relatively quick fashion. If you're only interested in the quest line itself and not the mount, then you can definitely do it eventually. It can be completed after the 10-hour war. You just won't get the mount. You're basically going to be, it's going to be a guild effort. You need a lot of friends and guildies who are willing to help you. You need raids. It's impossible to complete Blackwing Lair quests in 1 week, meaning the shortest time this questline could be completed within the weekly reset is following its release, because you need the head from Broodlord Lashlayer. So expect the world first on many realms to be finished on the day of the next reset. Guilds will have to play accordingly to their raid lockouts, depending on what day of the week and the time of the day the Scepter of the Shifting Sands quest line becomes available. It may be possible to clear Blackwing Lair in the same lockout period of the quest line starting. Guild should not run Blackwing Lair during that week until your would-be Scarab Lord is on the quest. Only one may rise, and that is for the head of Broodlord Lashlayer. You may have to delay your raid times to let them complete it. So just keep your communication open with your guilds. Now, this quest also has a massive shopping list. It wouldn't be a legendary quest with a legendary amount of items. Arcanite bars, we need 20 of those. We need 10 Elementimia ores. Azerothian diamonds, we need 10. We need 10 blue sapphires. We need 20 goblin rocket fuel, and we need 20 deep rock salt. You can collect 20 of the Shimmerak tenderloins when you're doing the Blue Scepter Shard quest line ahead of time. It may be soloable to solo with all the rank 14, or if you have like a hunter ult. I know a lot of hunters used to solo these bad boys all the time. Like we've talked a lot about the Scarab Lord quest line, when realistically a lot of people aren't going to be doing it. If you're interested, I'm going to put the link in the description below, as well as a link for the clip from Barney's video. Shout out Barney, one of the best series on YouTube. But real quick, I just wanted to go over the 2 new raids that we're going to be getting, AQ20 and then AQ40. I wanted to go over some notable pieces of loot, which I'm going to have this in the description as well. Everything that we go through in the video today will be in the description below. Now, there's a very important item. It's basically like the Oni head, if you will. The Asarian, the Unscarred head. Now, this item starts a quest, the Fall of Assyrian, which is a nice necklace for melee. I believe the necklace for casters is pretty solid, too, if you don't have anything there. There's a nice healing necklace. That's a really nice healing necklace. If you haven't picked up the one from ZG yet and you've been unlucky, then you've got a nice little necklace at the end of AQ20. That is just waiting there for you. But there's going to be a lot of melee fighting for the 42 attack power neck if they have been unlucky and haven't been getting Hukar's necklace. Some of the biggest notable loot is going to be popped in for warriors specifically. We have the Manual of Heroic Strike, and we have the Manual of Battle Shout. These are going to be big items that if you're not hard resing them, that's probably all everyone is going to res because they have rank 14. That's what people are going to be running these for. If you've got a lot of money, you could probably buy these on the auction house, but if there's anything compared to what they have been in the past, they're going to be thousands upon thousands of gold, especially on a server like Night Slayer. So now there's going to be an update of ability ranks for loads of classics, if not all classes. A big one being like increases in backstab for rogues, shadow bolt for warlocks. They get a whole new rank of their abilities. Most of the other gear coming from AQ, like the weapons, are going to be good for alts, but if you have rank 14 gear, most of this will not really fit in your slot. There's like a few off pieces though in AQ that are really solid, and there's the 3-piece sets. The 3-piece sets are new and only in 20. That is the ring, the cloak, the weapon normally. I know the rogue dagger is really solid, but if I'm correct, considering that we have rank 14 weapons, a lot of the weapons even in AQ 40 are comparable to rank 14, making the weapons not as sought after unless you aren't ranking. If you aren't ranking, these items are actually really solid. They are a few DPS behind, top end damage behind, but the sets themselves aren't too bad. I know we talked a little bit about AQ20, but AQ40 is where the real juice is at, and a lot of people will argue that this is where they quit WoW, but honestly, this is probably one of my favorite raids in the game, behind Ahn'Qiraj, obviously. AQ40 is a 40-man raid, and it comes with a new tier armor set, the 2.5 tier armor, which is available as soon as we get into AQ, but it is locked behind some rep, and we need pieces that come from trash mobs and just loot in general from the actual raid. After we've killed the first boss, a door will open, and you will find some NPCs to turn in the chest, the boots, the legs, the helm, and the shoulders. Now, the tier 2.5 sets are some of the most interesting looking sets in the game, and warriors, even though they have ranked, will still pick up some of these items. If they've already broken the set with a, SGC already, or a Lionheart helmet, they're already breaking the 40 AP. You can add roughly about 300 attack power on the Alliance side specifically, I know. At least a minimum of 300 attack power just by going for and changing all this over. The weapons are comparable, even from 40-man. There are going to be some very, very noticeable pieces of loot that come from AQ 40, though. And the Eye of Cthulhu is one of them. The Eye of Cthulhu is a healer necklace, a really good, solid DPS cloak, I think like second or third bis in the game. And then the Ring of the Fallen God, the spell power damage ring. As well as, like I've talked about, the 2.5 sets. and we get the tokens. Now, the 2.5 sets are actually tokens that are shared within each other. So the bindings of command, actually, one piece comes from Huhuran or Viscidus, and that shares with 4 classes. Command shares with warriors, hunters, rogues, and priests. If there is or isn't a video about AQ loot prio, if you are a loot council guild, I'm sure there's videos out there. There may even be a Dwarf Lord video out there, and if there is, I'll put it in the description like I always do. Big shout out Dwarf Lord. If you haven't watched any of his videos, you should go check them out. There's some noticeable trash loot actually in AQ40 if you would decide to go maces on a human or even a non-human class. But the Warhammer could be used as an offhand weapon. It's very good. I'm not sure if it's better than rank 14, but I'm sure someone will be able to confirm in the comments down below if this is worth it. And if you're not rank 14, then this is definitely worth it. You can put a solid main hand. I see a lot of people on classic Arrow rock this hammer on top of the Kazakh hammer, which, I mean, good luck getting the Kazakh hammer, but if you can, it seems like this is a very common duo. We have Ritzen's Ring of Chaos, which is a super, super solid caster ring with 1 crit and 25 spell power. There's a 2-handed axe that looks really fucking cool. Like, actually looks like one of the coolest weapons in the game. Yeah, it just looks so sick. Again, rank 14 is going to be beating it, but these are just like really cool looking items too. Something unique about the AQ raid itself, it's so long that actually the trash drops little Raji battle tank. These unique little battle tanks are only used inside the raids of Ahn'Qiraj. Eventually, everyone will have one in the raid, but they are a free 100% speed mount if you still haven't hit rank 11 to get your 90 gold mount or decided it's an ult and I don't want to buy 100% mount. You'll be able to have 100% mount. The bug mounts will help you traverse a lot quicker throughout the raid because it is rather lengthy of a raid. There's a few colors that drop actually. There's blue, there's green, there's yellow, and then there is the coveted red. The red traditionally appears to have a lower drop rate than others, and of course, you can use the SCARAB Lord mount inside the temple for those who have completed the SCARAB questline. Going over some of the boss loot real quick here. One of the biggest notable things, like I said for warriors earlier, there's the breastplate of annihilation. This thing is massive. If you don't have an SGC, you slap this puppy on. I think this is actually better than SGC because of the strength. I could be wrong, but this thing has so much more armor and it just makes you more tanky that you're going to want to pick this up on a warrior even if you have SGC. There is the armament weapons, which I think they're roughly the same. There's a small DPS differential between the rank 14 weapons, but most of the time the warriors won't be picking stuff up like this. So you can kind of just overlook that. Bug Trio has something noticeable. Bug Trio has some decent loot, but one of the biggest things to notice if you're a melee and you are specifically a warrior is the boots of the fallen hero. Yes, they're not chromies, but goddamn, they look way better. And if you're bad luck with chromies and you haven't ranked, these are actually 2 better than the rank boots themselves. 2 better agility, and I think it's 2 more strength as well. Don't quote me on that. There's more stats than the rank 13 boots for sure. They're not better than chromies. I think they're like 5 to 6 DPS less than chromies, but again, if you're unlucky, these things drop all the time. Like, even I have an arrow warrior with these things on. So Tura drops one of, if not the most sought after trinkets, especially if you're going towards into TBC. This thing is still used in TBC, so pick this up. Always toss it. If you're an SR guild, toss 1, maybe 2 of your SRs on this a week. I wouldn't 3. Then let yourself get some gear. Even though you're rank 14, and rank 14 gear will correlate quite well into Nax. You'll be able to go into Nax with just your rank 14 gear. Actually, you'll see a lot of people, sadly, I hate to admit this, a lot of people will take breaks during AQ because they know that the gear that they have is sufficient enough to start farming Nax. Is it going to be optimal? Ideally, no, but it is good enough. It's actually probably better than what most had going into Nax originally in 2019. Now, again, if you're not ranking, there's another boss that could be juicy for you, and that's Ahn'Qiraj, because Ahn'Qiraj has a one-handed sword that's really solid for humans. There's also the barbed choker. This is another sought-after item in the raid for warriors that really just Foaming at the mouth. They're just foaming at the mouth for this stuff. Got Viscous. Get your Cold Rage daggers ready and your Frost oil. Don't be using fish liver oil on this bad boy yet. We got to save those for speed runs, everyone. But yeah, this one's kind of a pain in the ass. The Scarab Brooch actually may be a really solid trinket now because there is not a buff cap, but historically speaking, this was bad in Classic and great in TBC. I think even in Wrath, some people yields this. I know that's crazy to say, but I know for a fact this was used in the first phases of TBC on healers. This was one of, if not the best trinket due to its special ability. Huhuran is going to be where your guild talks about nature res in general. If you're a horde, yeah, you probably got poison, you probably got totems that'll help out with this bad boy. But if you're not, good lord, look out. The Cloak of the Golden Hive, if you don't have a stats cloak on Alliance, is actually a solid option. It's not the best, but it's going to be better than like a Cape of Baron, most likely. Really solid healing ring as well from Huhuran, the Ring of the Martyr. It's got a chunk. It's 51 healing and 5 mana per 5. One of the best rings that is around. Twins has some crazy good loot, and you should pay attention because it's actually where your tier 2.5 Helm token comes from. Again, you should be paying attention to it for the circlet and the diadem. I said that wrong. I know I did. I just know I did. Uro's going to be a pain in the ass boss as well for a lot of people, but he's going to have a sick gun and trinket combo. Jumgabar is a extremely strong and powerful trinket. And then obviously you have the gun that is super, super strong. The 1% crit and 18 attack power. Warriors and rogues will be foaming at the mouth for the loot from Uro. And then we've got Cthulhu. Now Cthulhu is another one where you need to pay attention. One, to not kill your friends with the I-beam. Don't kill your friends with the I-beam. Whenever you do, do not kill your friends with the I-beam, okay? Just trust me on that. Don't kill your friends with the I-beam. Anyways, Cthulhu has crazy loot. Basically, everything on his loot table is something to be sought after. By itself starts a quest for the Spellcaster Ring, the Healer's Neck, and a DPS Cloak. The Gauntlets of Annihilation are the best govs in the game, and you should look for those if you're a warrior. Another one of those, I should probably toss an SR on that weekly if you're in an SR guild. If you're in a loot council guild, you better hope you did some real good hive farming for your GM to get some brio on those puppies right there. Warriors and rogues will be foaming at the mouth for Death's Sting. Your warrior tank, that thing is one of, if not the sickest daggers to have until you go into Nax. And rogues, obviously, it speaks for itself. This puppy is a monster backstab dagger. Now, melee aren't the only ones that have some fun. Obviously, everyone gets their 2.5 chess piece from Cthulhu as well. Don't forget about that. But one of the things to think about here is actually going to be the mace. This healer mace right here is actually better than rank 14, if I'm correct. And comparing it to like a High Warlord's mace, for example, it is out here dominating by almost 53 spell power more. The Scepter of False Prophet will be the most sought after healing weapon for any healer that can use maces going into AQ. And don't worry, we still have to run AQ in Nax phase for all the Atishas, because when we get the quest after the 40 shards of the Atish have been formed, you have to go to the Brood of Norse Dormu, and then he asks for the base and he asks for the head. The base you get in AQ, and the head you get from KT. You yourself create the staff handle. Now we know we've gone over a ton of information about AQ, like how we're going to get there. On July 10th, we basically get to start farming. So that means roughly we could be seeing our first raid potentially being on July 15th. So potentially on the first week, we could see a raid for July 15th for AQ's opening on Night Slayer or any of the other servers. To be fair, they're all mega servers, so there's a great chance that it's finished within the first week or the first few days. And it'd be really interesting to see how quickly some of these things can do. Now, you know, if by some odd chance you can't get it done, after 15 days, the AQ war effort basically starts auto-completing itself. Not by a large margin, but what you will start to see, like, supplies moving from Silithus. This is just to ensure that, you know, basically all realms will have AQ open by the time Nax is around. But do remember, you still need the Bang-A-Gong quest to open AQ20 and AQ40. On our mega server realms, again, I don't think this is going to be a worry for anything like that. Something to talk about, though, would be the launch of Mists of Pandaria and its pre-patch. I don't know about you, but some of my friends actually do plan on playing Mists of Pandaria. Now, the pre-patch actually arrives for them on the 1st of July. That would be 9 days, roughly, before we get our launch opening of the AQ War effort. Now, I'm really interested to see what you guys have to say in the comments down below. Do you think this is actually going to, quote, interfere with each other? I think it's different strokes for different folks. I think the people that are playing Mists of Pandaria want to play Mists of Pandaria, and they don't really choose to play AQ, and they actually probably haven't been playing Anniversary. I know there's going to be a population that where both of the worlds are going to be, you know, doing their own thing and coexisting. Let's be real, people do play both versions of the game. That's not uncommon. I myself play multiple different games, not just World of Warcraft. Shocker, I know. As I said earlier, and as I've been thinking about it, I think these two actually could launch on the same day and it wouldn't even matter. But I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. Are you slightly upset? Is someone not going to be playing AQ because now they're focusing on MOP? I'd like to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments below. The news just came out like a couple hours ago. I know I haven't been really getting videos out, and that's because I had IRL issues. I had some family sick, but now we are back and we're booming. If you don't know, I stream about every other day on Twitch. Check that link out in the description below. And if you're going to be doing MOP, if you're leveling an alt, don't forget to use Mintzy code at checkout of Rested XP for all your beautiful Rested XP guides and quest leveling for dailies. Don't forget there's a daily thing. But anyways, enough yapping. Thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you like the video, like it. And until next time, take care.